Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel where we talk about the hit TV show on MGM Plus From. First off, I can't help but be excited by the fact that determinism came up in this episode. If you don't know, check out my previous breakdown of episode 6 where I talk about determinism and how Moonshine Tom dropped this clue before. But we will get into that more later. Episode 7 is all about learning from the past, reflecting on all that we know about this place so far, listening to what's being said, no matter how crazy it sounds, and suspending all real-world logic. Everyone seems to brush Fatima, Victor, and Tabitha off as crazy. But if we listen to them and learn from the past, what do we find out? Maybe the crazy ones are the ones we need to listen to.
Sometimes crazy is the most rational response you could have.
We also see anger start to overcome several people in the town. As our characters progress along this quest to understand Fromville, we have several new fears unlocked. Is history doomed to repeat itself? Are they living in a never-ending, repeating cycle? Is it their fate to play a role here? For some, to die here? Let's break it down. Fatima is losing her shit over this pregnancy thing and is getting more and more aggressive about it. Everyone is trying their best to support Fatima, but someone even suggesting something other than being pregnant has her fuming. Later, Mari, bless her heart, is trying to use real-world logic with Fatima, but we aren't in Kansas anymore, and it's time to stop pretending. Mari tries to relate with Fatima, but her advice is to pretend whatever is happening isn't real. It's less scary that way.
Remind myself it isn't real. That it's just fear, and fear can only break me if I let it.
This is different.
This instantly pisses off Fatima. She feels like she's not really being seen. No one is listening to her. Everyone thinks she's crazy. There's a parallel with Victor and Henry here. Just like Mari did with Fatima, Henry tries to use real-world logic with Victor.
No, this isn't healthy.
He needs to talk. He needs to tell me what he said.
Yeah, but it's a doll.
Henry doesn't listen to Victor, doesn't really believe him. And again, just like with Fatima, this pisses Victor off. He's also angry at Jasper's silence, so they go to Sarah's house where there's better feng shui for creepy shit in the basement. Now, the only other times we've seen Jasper be more than just a dummy has been with Jade. Is Jade the one Jasper will talk to? Meanwhile, Henry and Donna cope with a little bit of alcohol.
I wish I had never come here. I wish Tabitha had never found me. Because it was easier when I thought he was dead.
I really hope not, but maybe this is a hint of Victor's impending fate. Maybe the song that played on the jukebox this episode wasn't just for Acosta.
Excuse me.
Maybe it's a message to Henry that things are gonna get a little bit easier by Victor's death. I think the way to save people to beat this quest will involve Victor's sacrifice. And perhaps that's what Kill the Boy meant all along. And then Elgin. Man, did things escalate with his plot. We went from casual flirting with Kimono Lady to having pillow talk and inside secrets. Let's back it up though.
Yeah, it's rewind time.
So the Polaroid camera from episode 5 ended up being important. I also ended up remembering that Jade found that Polaroid of Christopher and Victor way back in episode 1 of season 2. So this isn't the first time the Polaroid has been important. Elgin is hanging out in Colony House when all of a sudden the camera snaps a photo on its own. In this scene, it seems like there is special attention to what Elgin made. I think it's supposed to be a baby mobile. Will this be of any significance later, or perhaps this is just another clue that Fatima is indeed pregnant and that there's a creepy Fromville baby in there? Okay, back to the Polaroid. This time, some weird shit definitely is going on with the photo. As it develops, we see a shot of cellar doors. Yes, you know, that cellar. The place where Jade sees the dude crushed by the rock and sees the symbol for the first time. Where Boyd sees the music box and the ballerina dance out of. And where Kid Vic hid when the town massacre happened. Yeah, that cellar, where all kinds of creepy shit happened. And what does Elgin do? He goes there, alone. And the cellar delivers again on the creep factor. As he's exploring, he hears a knock behind the cabinet. He finds a small room and uncovers a mostly rotten corpse. You should get Fatima down here. She can help you get rid of that, if you know what I'm saying. But anywho, Kimono Lady is back for more quality time with her man Elgin, and he surprises us with this line.
Is this really where it happens?
Where what happens, Elgin? Apparently these two have been talking off screen. No wonder he wasn't scared to go into the cellar alone. He got the 411 from Kimono Lady before he went down there. I think this is another nod to determinism, to his fate. Something is meant to happen here. Are we supposed to learn from the experiences of Jade, Boyd, or Victor at the cellar? If we trust Kimono Lady, whatever happens next is all part of saving the town. Now, am I crazy, or is our girl Julie a little flirty with Randall? Don't do Elgin like that, Julie. Randall's way too old for you anyways. But, as we know, Julie also has a special connection with Randall. Julie vents to Randall about the crazy shit her parents are getting into, all while continuing to neglect her. And she shares how she never learned to drive because of how shitty of a dad Jim is. Randall decides he can be good daddy and surprises Julie with a driving lesson. But good times, they never last in this place. Suddenly Randall has another cicada attack that causes him to stop the van. And where do they end up? Yeah, the cicada monster brought them back to the weird disappearing torture dungeon that they were chained up in. Randall is rightfully freaked out and he convinces Julie to turn back. But by the looks of it, Julie will be back. Okay, let's talk about Acosta. Damn, I did not expect such a sharp turn from her. After the shot heard round the world, she was so demure, so mindful. She was already put in her place by Boyd when she first got here.
You let me worry about how to take care of my goddamn town. Thank you!
And unfortunately for Boyd, I think that moment was the catalyst for Acosta's villain arc. Kenny tries to help her by speedrunning her through the tutorial of this place.
I mean, you show up and you think to yourself, I'm gonna figure this out. All these other people, they may have given up, they may have accepted it, but me? I'm gonna figure this out. I'm gonna be the one who gets to go home. You either adapt or you lose your mind.
And he tells her about the talismans and how Boyd found them. But, like several characters so far in this episode, Acosta gets angry.
I don't plan on getting comfortable here, okay? I'm gonna figure that.
Ooh, child, by 5 stair steps starts playing on the jukebox, taunting her as she leaves. Acosta then decides to go full Annie Oakley and tries to get her gun back from Boyd.
Anything you can do, I can do better. I can do anything better than you.
No, you can't.
Yes, I can.
No, you can't.
Yes, I can.
No, you can't.
Is it just me, or is there maybe a little bit of sexual tension here between these two? I know a lot of people hate her character, but let me tell you, I am here for it. She's pushing the power dynamics, and I think Boyd kind of likes it. He gives Acosta her gun back, but without the bullets. He also ends up showing her his hidey hole, and it just seems like a big mistake. Boyd tells her the next time she comes here, She better have an RSVP invitation.
Next time you come in here without my permission, you and me are gonna have a problem.
Whatever you say, Sheriff.
Now tell me why this reminded me of Twilight, where Edward tells Jacob the next time he touches Bella, it better be with her permission. And it turns out she gives it. Rather, she begs for it later. Is this a hint that at some point later on, Boyd will be begging her to come in? I have a bad feeling that there's a reason why we saw Kenny explaining the talisman to Acosta. I think she took the talisman from the post office to get back at Boyd. While Ethan and Jade look for clues around the scarecrows and huts, Tabitha tells Jim about her dreams. We see Jim act just like Ellis and Henry. He tells Tabitha it's in her head. He tries to use real-world logic with her. She gets angry with him, but is able to convince him this is different, that they need to dig into this more. When she gets to the area with the 3 red rocks, her memory and feelings about this place come rushing back to her. She says she hid behind the red rocks from something that invoked intense fear, but she always woke up before she saw what it was. What does this mean to remember this place, to know it before you get there?
Maybe Aristotle got it wrong. Free will and determinism. If fate exists, if you were destined to come to this place since you were a child.
We know Victor's mom, Miranda, dreamed that she was chosen to save the children and people of Fromville, but also that everyone who was chosen before has tried and failed. Her dreams ended up coming true as she died trying to get to the lighthouse. But did you remember Abby also had a dream?
I was just thinking about this dream I had when I was a little girl.
Based on what Abby says, I think her dream was this exact scenario. Killing everyone in a creepy town to escape a nightmare. So is it fate? I think Tabitha's dream will come true. I think the red rocks are like some sort of circle of protection, that those scarecrow-looking statues are meant to scare away evil spirits. We will find out what is making all that noise around the huts in a later episode, likely while peering up from the red rocks. Whatever it is, we're getting strong hints that it's not the same as the other monsters they know.
Boy, there is something out there. Something different. We heard it both times now. Walking around outside the cabins at night.
Whatever was banging around last night sure as hell didn't sound like those things back in town.
Now let's get back to Fatima's plot. Ellis confides in Tilly about the ultrasound and seeks support about what to do to help Fatima. Tilly seems to be coaching Ellis through the 5 stages of grief. She specifically calls out when she was in the angry stage, shortly after her cancer diagnosis. Interesting that we see a lot of anger amongst our residents as of late. Tilly then says she was able to get over her anger, her fear, her sadness after she came to an understanding about life. She says that life is like going on a grand adventure, one that you don't know if it's the beginning, middle, or end. She says none of us get to stay forever. This all seems to tie back to determinism. She's telling Ellis to accept his fate. He has no control of the story, and it's okay. Everyone has to go at some point. Everyone has a part to play. Is this confirmation that this place has a life cycle, so to speak, or that eventually people will be freed from here? While Ellis and Tilly are chatting, Fatima's upstairs trying to get some rest when all of a sudden her belly starts contorting, and it's disturbing to say the least. The way her ribcage is exposed is very reminiscent of how the monsters leave corpses. She screams, and as Ellis and Tilly come up, her body returns to normal as if nothing happened. Ellis is desperate to help Fatima, so he tries to steal antipsychotic drugs from Christy. We get a zoomed-in shot of the drug in question, and a quick Google search indicates that this is typically used to treat schizophrenia. We also see a name. Who is M. Thompson, and is this even important? Add another new question to the wall, Jim. Later, Fatima is back at the greenhouse, about to chow down, when she starts experiencing extreme stomach pain again. As she's writhing in pain, Tilly shows up to try to help her. The anger that's been building up inside Fatima comes to a head. This chick stabs Tilly with gardening shears. Brutal. As Tilly takes her final breath, she gives one final piece of party advice.
You have to run.
What have I done?
Is she just trying to save Fatima from being found out by the townspeople to avoid facing the consequences of killing someone in this town? Or maybe she's telling her to run from a larger threat that's looming. With Fatima's plotline, it's a nice change to see everyone trying to be more proactive with her condition, to learn from experiences here so far. Like when Boyd and Donna have a little chat and stroll.
The way Christy sees it. Either there's something there like the worms that were under my skin, or this place finally got to it.
Based on the past and what they know of this place so far, they see it one of two ways. This pregnancy is real and is being affected by this place. Like when Boyd had worms. Maybe she's the only one who can see it and feel it. That is, until she's not. Also, like with Boyd, no one is really listening to her. No one believes her. Will they learn from the past, or will this end up like Boyd and his worms? Will a new monster be unleashed? Or maybe it's all in her head, just like Sarah, whose arm was carved up one second and like nothing happened the next. Like Abby, who we assume also heard voices or saw things that drove her to madness. All three ladies were driven to kill. When Boyd is talking with Donna, she brings up how they should learn from the past and think about what they should do differently.
Look, if you're thinking about things you could have done different.
No, it's not that.
Well, it should be.
Boyd is really struggling. He's not fully ready to reflect on Abby, to look at what happened, what he had to do, but at the same time, he knows that he has to reflect on it. He sees the same signs in Fatima that he saw in Abby when she tried to go full massacre on the town. Boyd is afraid that there is nothing they can do, that Fatima will suffer the same fate as Abby. Ellis shares that he's also afraid of the same thing.
Ellis! Hey! What? I know you're scared, man.
What am I supposed to do? Huh? Tell me, what the fuck am I supposed to do?
I don't know.
Okay, I saw it. I saw what happened with your fucking worms. And I saw what happened to Mom when she... Which fucking nightmare am I supposed to be afraid of? Which?
I think it's possible that just like Boyd, Ellis will be the one who has to stop Fatima's madness. Based on the themes of this episode about learning from the past and listening to the crazies, I've changed my mind from the last episode, and I think we should listen to Fatima and believe her. That there is a baby, that there's something inside her. But what if there's a third option? She's not pregnant, but something is changing her from the inside out. This would be something different than we've ever seen before in Fromville. Perhaps she's turning. Maybe she will become something that tortures people here.
If this is in my head, how do you explain my body changing? Ellis, if the baby isn't real, that means that it's me.
While this would be an interesting direction to go with Fatima's story, I'm still leaning towards pregnant. Otherwise, why bring up the whole infertile thing?
I told her it was a miracle.
Yeah, we all got a little excited.
No matter how you cut it, Fatima's fate is sealed, and I don't think she gets a happily ever after. What do you think? Are our characters all playing a part in some larger purpose? Is there perhaps a force here guiding them on their quest? Hinting to them to learn from this place, from their past mistakes here? To understand that crazy isn't so crazy here. To listen. I think it's possible there's two forces at play. Good and evil. Night and day. Mirror opposites. Perhaps the bad force is causing all the anger we see around town.
Symbols are important, especially on a quest.
Yeah?
But you have to figure out they're good symbols or bad symbols.
Oh, what do you mean? What do you mean, bad symbols?
Sometimes it would make you do bad things.
Whatever the case, it's clear this is a place of riddles, and whether or not any of our characters will solve it is to be determined.
Not every story gets a happy ending.
Well, if you made it this far, a huge thank you. It means so much to me to get any support, and I really want to hear from you all about your theories. Please consider liking, commenting, and subscribing. Until next time, toodles!